So now President Biden revealing his plan to spend more than $2 trillion on a new spending bill on bridges and roads. Washington Post reports only about 5% of the plan actually goes to repairing them. And as Speaker Pelosi says, she hopes to get it passed by the 4th of July. Republicans, even some Democrats, sharply criticizing him. To the details now, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, Republican and member of the Budget Appropriations Committee. Sir, how you doing? Good day to you. Roads and bridges notwithstanding, the money will support $400 billion for the elderly, people with disabilities, $213 billion affordable housing, $12 billion community colleges, $5 billion community violence prevention programs, and on and on. I mean, in a $2.2 trillion bill, there's a lot to talk about here. How do you want to frame it?
Well, no one can accuse Bill, the Biden administration, of timidity. This is a bold neo-socialist experiment. I mean, this will be over $4 trillion of spending in less than 100 days. And by spending this massive amount of taxpayer money, it's clear that, to me, that the Biden administration is moving more toward the Chinese model of capitalism, where the biggest player in the economy is government. It's no longer the private sector. Number two, do deficits and debt matter? We're about to find out. Number three, this is going to lessen the independence of the Federal Reserve. There's no way that the Biden administration can do this without the Federal Reserve financing this kind of deficit spending. And number four, this is not an infrastructure bill. I mean, everybody's for infrastructure. Being against infrastructure is like being against golden retrievers. But this is not an infrastructure bill. As best I can tell, just being charitable, about 15% of this bill is addressed to infrastructure. The rest is climate subsidies and social welfare spending. There may be something in here for murder hornets, for all I know. I need to read the details. But if you're talking about bridges and roads and ports and airports, by my numbers, I'm still reading things, but it's way less than 10%.
Yeah, it's about 5%. I also wanted to ask you about this. In the bill, they have something called the PRO Act. If this passes, basically what that would do is supersede any state that has right-to-work laws. So the federal government basically trying to come in and layer on top of states that have whose citizens have made decisions.
Well, yeah, you're right. And as I continue my reading, I keep coming upon little nuggets like that. And that's why I say, if you look at the Chinese brand of free enterprise or capitalism, it's government dominated, it's government controlled. And that's clearly what President Biden is moving toward. It's also going to be interesting to see the reaction of big business and big tech. Big business and big tech has become very woke, and they've been very supportive of the Biden administration. This is going to test their allegiance with the tax increase. The tax increase is going to hurt. Businesses and CEOs don't pay higher taxes. People do. They pay them in higher prices. They pay them, if they're employees, in lower wages. They pay them in lower returns on investment. After we did our Tax Cut and Jobs Act bill, we had a 3.2% unemployment rate, lowest for African Americans and Hispanic Americans in history. And the reason was and is, when you tax something, you get less of it. When you lower the taxes on something, you get more of it. And that's why the economy boomed. I think this will hurt the economy, but I'm sure Biden and his folks, President Biden and his folks, think that they can offset it with this massive amount of spending. I mean, it really is breathtaking. And
Senator,
it puts the Federal Reserve in it.
I don't know what your feeling is. Do any Republicans vote for this? I guess that's one question. And the other follow-up is Secretary Buttigieg was with us last hour, and this is what he said about infrastructure, reference to Winter Storm a couple weeks ago.
I don't know why anybody would say it's a mistake to invest in the grid after what we just witnessed in Texas. We saw U.S. citizens living in Texas melting snow in their bathtubs to be able to flush their toilets in the United States of America. That is unacceptable. So yes, infrastructure includes energy infrastructure.
I guess you need better turbines in Texas. Quick thought on that, and do Republicans vote for this? Any of them, sir? Secretary
Buttigieg is a really smart guy, but his mantra is we cannot possibly spend too much. And when Pete breaks a shoelace, he blames it on climate change. What happened in Texas had to do with the fact that the grid was not winterized because Texas made a decision that because they have so few cold snaps like they just had, it didn't make sense to spend the money and pass it on to consumers to winterize the grid. And it was an economic cost-benefit decision. That's the only thing that happened in Texas.
Before we let you go,
you can go winterize the.
Sorry, Senator, I don't want to lose time, run out of time with you. I did want to ask you something, just to give us your reflections on the migrants that are streaming across the border right now, and how the president is not seeming to focus on that. He's got a lot of focus on other things.
Well, I was just down there. The border's 1,900 miles. We were on a 50-mile stretch. The day I was there, 3,000 folks came into the country. At that rate, just in that 50-mile stretch, it's going to be about $1 million to $2 million a year. It can be fixed in a week. Ask any Border Patrol agent. I talked to over 50 of them. They'll all tell you the same thing. Just go back to doing what we were doing in December. Stop, catch, and release. And President Biden implemented a moratorium on deportations. They said, get rid of the moratorium, and you'll solve the problem within a week. But President Biden, I'm convinced, he has the right. I disagree with him. He believes in open borders. Either that or the people he's got in charge of his immigration policies, I don't know, when their IQ gets to 75, they ought to sell. I mean, all they got to do is go talk to the Border Patrol. It's real simple.
Senator, thank you for talking to us today. We'll speak again very soon.
Always good to see you. Thank you.
You bet, guys.
Thank you.